Luke 23, second last chapter before John, which is Yohanan. John. Interesting. Anyways, Luke 23, I read from the Institute for Scripture Research, the ISR, because it takes a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Greek to English, and Aramaic to English. Yah is the Elohim of the heavens and the earth, the first and the last and the only, and he's an extremely jealous El. He's so jealous that he doesn't even want the names of idols or mighty ones to come to our lips. Yah is the Elohim of the heavens and the earth, the first and the last and the only, and he's an extremely jealous El. I already said that. Yah is short for YahWeh, Yahweh, Yod-He, Vav-He. It's like saying Dan, Daniel, Daniel with an E. What is the difference and does matters when people say Phil, Bob, Sam, and Aaron are the same name? Because no, they're not. No one in their right mind would ever believe that, and only a fool would believe that a hammer could force its creator to do anything, and there is no letter J in the Hebrew, Greek, or Aramaic text because the letter J is about 600 years old, while the son of Elohim, Yehoshua, died on a stake for the sins of all of humanity over 2,000 years ago, and a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Yehoshua is Joshua, and I strongly believe that the son of Elohim's name, Yehoshua, means Yahweh is salvation. Excuse me. 23. And the entire assembly of them, having risen up, led him to Pilate, Pilate, and began to accuse him, saying, We found this one perverting the nation and forbidding to pay taxes to Caesar, saying that he himself is Messiah, a sovereign. That's not at all what he said. He said, Pay to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and pay to Elohim what belongs to Elohim. That's what he said. And Pilate asked him, saying, Are you the sovereign of the Yehudim? Yehud with a line underneath of it, I am. And answering him, he said, You say it. And Pilate said to the chief priests and the crowd, I find no guilt in this man. But they were insisting, saying, He stirs up the people, teaching through all Yehudah, beginning from Galil unto this place. And when Pilate heard of Galil, he asked if the man were a Galilean. And when he learned that he was under the authority of Herodes, Herodes, he sent him to Herodes, who was also in Jerusalem in those days, because in those days they were still under exile. And even to this day, they are still under exile. And seeing Yehoshua, Herodes rejoiced greatly. For a long time he had wished to see him, because he had heard much about him, and was anticipating to see some miracle done by him, and was questioning him with many words, but he gave him no answer. And the chief priests and the scribes stood, accusing him intensely, and Herodes with his soldiers made light of him and mocked him, dressing him in a splendid robe, and sent him back to Pilate. And on that day Pilate and Herodes became friends with each other, for before that they had been at enmity, Enmity, with each other. And Pilate, having called together the chief priests and the rulers and the people, said to them, You brought this man to me as one who turns away the people, and look, I have examined him in your presence, and have found no guilt in this man regarding the charges which you make against him, and neither did Herodes, for I sent you back to him. And look, he has done none at all deserving death. Having disciplined him, then I shall release him. For he had to release one of them at the festival, and they cried out all together, saying, Away with this one, and release to us Barabbas, Barabba, who had been thrown into prison for a certain uprising made in the city, and for murder. It's in brackets. Wishing to release Yehoshua, then Pilate appealed to them again, but they were calling out, saying, Impale, impale him. Not crucify, impale. Crucify is a Catholic term. Impale, because crucify is the cross, which is a Catholic symbol used by the Greeks. But an impalement is literally basically the same thing without the symbol of the Catholics. So instead of being impaled with one stake in each hand and one going through your feet, it was only 2 stakes, one going through your feet and one going through both your hands above your head. He was still brutally tortured. Like, I'm not saying he didn't, just saying what you think you're reading is wrong. It's just a different religious belief they changed to fit their needs, but it's not how it is. And he, just like the one, like the Christian belief of that one movie, I can't remember what it's called, but they said that one of the robbers had begged for mercy from Yehoshua and how they were both going to be in heaven, but if you read the Bible, it does not say that at all. In fact, it says both of them mocked him and ridiculed him until their death. Anyways. And he said to them the 3rd time, Why, what evil has he done? I have found no reason for death in him. Having disciplined him, then I shall release him. But with loud voices they insisted, asking for him to be impaled. And the voices of these men and of the chief priests were prevailing. It was literally the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the chief priests and them that raised their voices higher than everyone else to get everyone else to say, impale him too. And Pilate pronounced sentence that what they asked should be done, and he released the one they asked for, who for uprising and murder had been thrown into prison, but he handed Yehoshua over to their wishes. To be honest, because he committed murder, I would have had him executed. There would have been none of that release crap. If you're a pedophile, a murderer, convicted rapist, if you're in for a life sentence, all those, death penalty. It's a waste of taxes. Kill them. You had your chance at life. When you took it from other people, you took it from yourself as well. Barabbas wouldn't exist if I was in charge. People like them would have been killed. Like, nah. If you're a pedophile, you immediately get the burning alive at a stake. Everyone else can get the death penalty by stoning. Oh, nowadays I wouldn't stone you, I would shoot you. Because that's more humane, I find, to stick a bullet in your head. Then again, if you are a pedophile, I would still burn you at the stake. Anyways. And he released the one they asked for, who for uprising and murder had been thrown into prison, but he handed Yehoshua over to their wishes. And as they led him away, they laid hold of a certain man, Shimon, a Cyrenian, Cyrenean, who was coming from the field, and they put the stake on him to bear it behind Yehoshua, and a great number of people were following him, and women who also were mourning and lamenting him. But Yehoshua, turning to them, said, Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For look, days are coming in which they shall say, Blessed are the barren, and wombs that never bore, and the breasts which never nursed. Then they shall begin to say to the mountains, Fall on us, and to the hills, cover us, which is Isaiah 2:19 and 20, and Hosea 10:8 says A. See also Hazon, H with a dot, Azon 6:16. Because if they do this to the green tree, what is going to be done to the dry tree? And 2 others also, evildoers, were led with him to be put to death. And when they had come to the place called Golgotha, Golgotha, they impaled him there, and the evildoers, one on the right and the other on the left. And Yehoshua said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. And they divided his garments and cast lots. Tet 22:18. And the people were standing looking on, and the rulers also were sneering with them, saying, He saved others, let him save himself if he is the Messiah, the chosen of Elohim. Again, trying Yahweh is out of the question. And the soldiers were mocking him too, coming and offering him sour wine, and saying, If you are the sovereign of the Yehudim, save yourself. And there was also an inscription written over him in letters of Greek and Roman and Hebrew, This is the sovereign of the Yehudim. Don't forget, Yehoshua was a Hebrew who spoke Hebrew. And one of the evildoers who were hanged was speaking evil of him, saying, If you are the Messiah, save yourself and us. But the other responding, rebuked him, saying, Do you not even fear Elohim, since you are under the same judgment? And we indeed rightly so, for we receive the due reward of our deeds, but this one has done no wrong. And he said to Yehoshua, Master, remember me when you come into your reign. That's interesting, because in the other one it says that they both reviled him until their death. But this is saying the other one didn't do that. This is coming from Luke, though. Luke's perspective, he's supposedly the other one actually didn't talk down to him, even though Matthew says they did. Interesting. I'll leave that one up to you guys. To be honest, whether he did or not isn't going to be what saves you. I am going to read this, and then I'm going to go right back to Matthew in this same video, and I'm going to read that again. And Yehoshua said to him, Truly I say to you, today you shall be with me in paradise. B. Lit garden. Oh no, yeah, lit garden. And it was now about the 6th hour, and darkness came over all the land until the 9th hour, and the sun was darkened, and the veil of the dwelling place was torn in two. And crying out with a loud voice, Yehoshua said, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. And having said this, he breathed his last. And the captain, seeing what took place, praised Elohim, saying, Truly this man was righteous. And when all the crowds who had gathered to that sight saw what took place, they beat their breasts and went away. And all those who knew him and the women who followed him from Galilee stood at a distance watching this, and see a man named Yosef, Y-O-S-E, with a half a check mark, P-H, a council member, a good and righteous man, who was not agreeing with their counsel indeed, from Ramathaim, R-A-M-A-T-H-A-Y-I-M, a city of the Yehudim, who himself was also waiting for the reign of Elohim. He, going to Pilate, asked for the body of Yehoshua, and taking it down, he wrapped it in linen and laid it in a tomb hewn out of the rock, where no one was yet laid. And it was preparation day, and the Sabbath was approaching, and the women who had come with him from Galilee followed after, and saw the tomb and how his body was laid. And having returned, they prepared spices and perfumes, and they rested on the Sabbath according to the command. No, that's too far. so as to put him to death. Here we go. It says, and having impaled him, they divided his garments, casting lots, that it might be filled what was spoken by the prophet. They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. And sitting down, they guarded him, and they put up over his head the written charge against him. This is Yehoshua, the sovereign of the Yehudim. Then 2 robbers were impaled with him, one on the right and another on the left. And those passing by were blaspheming him, shaking their heads and saying, you who destroy the dwelling place and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the son of Elohim, come down from the stake. And likewise the chief priests with the scribes and elders mocking said, he saved others, he is unable to save himself. If he is the sovereign of Israel, let him now come down from the stake, and we shall believe him. He trusted in Elohim, let him rescue him now, if he desires him. For he said, I am the son of Elohim. And also the robbers who were impaled with him reviled him, saying the same. And from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Yehoshua cried out with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani. That is, my El, why have you forsaken me? And Eli is E with a half a check mark, L-I, and then lema, E-L-M-A-H. And then sabachthani, S-H-E-B, with a line underneath of it, A-Q-T-A-N-I. So again, it doesn't say that he rebuked him. It says the opposite. In fact, it doesn't even touch down on that, whether he rebuked him or not. But the point is, regardless of if he actually rebuked him or if he didn't, because it's coming from either Matthew or Luke, well, the Bible doesn't contradict itself, so I'm wrong, obviously. And I guess maybe they just didn't touch down fully, because in Luke it seems like they went into a little bit more detail. So I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Apparently he did. That's where I'm going to leave that at. Oh, shoot. I forgot. Before it goes away, that was Matthew. I started at Matthew 35 to... I mean, I read all the way down to 46, but you don't have to go all the way down to 46. But yeah. Anyways.